call the February 23rd, 2021 Parks and Rec meeting to order. And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can hear you fine from there, too.
Roll call.
Yep.
Commissioner Windley,
Here.
Commissioner Traxler,
Here.
Commissioner Ahola,
Here.
and Chairman Bennett.
Here.
And we still have one vacancy,
Yep.
but we did receive 3 applications, and Stacy plans on interviewing them this week.
Okay.
And I want you to do it with me.
Okay, give me your days.
You should be able to pick who you want.
Well, who we think work with us well.
If you guys don't want to sit on it, that's fine too. I trust you
We'd
guys.
have to do it
You
in
can't,
one.
and you're gonna
We'd have to do
have
an agenda.
yeah, they can't just do that.
Or two of you can do it.
Yeah,
right?
2 of us can.
Mhm.
Yeah, just give me the days where they're available. I'm pretty flexible.
Okay.
Okay, make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Moved. Second.
Go to approval of minutes. We did get the minutes, didn't we? Did not have a chance to look at them today, but I'm assuming they were.
I move to approve.
I'll second that motion to approve last month the minutes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's open it up to public comment. Excuse me. Apologize. We can't hear that.
Here.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm on Zoom, and I can see your logo, but I cannot, and I can hear you. I cannot see anything going on right now.
We don't have cameras on.
We don't have cameras on right now.
Okay.
But it is recorded for later review.
It's being recorded, and we can see you.
Okay. It's still open for public comment. Just a reminder, each speaker has relatively 4 minutes just to make sure we keep it going. No, you're fine. Nothing for public comment?
Is there any public comment?
No.
I don't know if they can hear me, that's fine.
He shook his head.
Okay.
Jen can hear you.
Okay, on to the regular agenda, usage and regulation for tennis and basketball courts at Howard Park. This was added to the agenda for many reasons. Obviously, the public is wanting to understand how we're going to do, so loud, is wanting to know how we're going to do the tennis. I speak very loud, so it's fine. We discussed this last agenda, but since then, I've read all the comments on Neighborhood I Own. I love that everybody wants to use the tennis courts. I love that we created the tennis courts, but man, has it caused problems. We put this brand new thing in and now it's just an issue. There's been talk about removing the basketball courts to a different location because that is becoming an issue. A multi-use facility is becoming an issue for all involved. Youth basketball is utilizing it, we know that. So then nobody on Saturdays can play tennis because it's used for quite a few hours.
Well, they can use it if they get there before youth basketball gets there.
For sure. But they do it as an all-day kind of thing. It's an all-day practice. But they don't have other places to practice right now either because the school gyms and stuff aren't allowing them to. So it's a tough time, I think, for youth sports that wouldn't normally be in our outside courts. So anyway. Pickleball is not gonna go there, right?
Right.
It's
No,
deemed,
there's no way. We've had people try, and the balls don't bounce.
The floor was put in, it's not for pickleball. I
No.
spoke to the contractor, and it will never work.
can we not remove the floor and put in, do the
That
normal
was a
tennis?
$20,000 we
Because
paid
the
for the floor.
$20,000 floor that was decided on by the past manager,
I know,
that you guys should have had input in, I think.
yeah, we did not. I agree 100% on that, but, okay.
Can you please speak up so we can hear the details?
You know, we're trying, but there's background noise to our microphone, so I'm trying not to get like right in the microphone, but I will try harder.
Is that better? Can you hear it better?
Could you please repeat what you said? I'm particularly, just me, interested in regards to the pickleball issue. And so what did you say about?
So, yeah, the flooring that was chosen to do the tennis courts and the basketball courts does not allow pickleball. The pickleball, obviously, if you are interested in it, probably you know that the ball has to bounce, and the pickleball balls do not bounce on that surface. But they're,
It's a different surface than a concrete, I guess, concrete.
yeah, there's a different finish on there.
It's actually rubberized 12-inch squares that were put down.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else from, I mean, we're trying to do our best out there, everyone wants to use it, and I think we do need to put signage up for not walking your dog in there, which I've seen, it is not a roller skating rink,
It's not a yoga court.
it's not a yoga court. We're having enough problems putting the usage in there that it's made for, so I'd like to, we talked about putting some of those other items elsewhere. The roller skating rink has been on our Howard Park nexus for years. It just hasn't been done, so maybe that would be something we'd look at for another project. This is the most annoying. So any thoughts, Dan?
Well, I'm just concerned that one sport will take that port over on a Saturday when residents of the town would like to use it on the Saturday. And I know that basketball's not going to last forever,
Yeah.
but then you're going to wonder what's next. Well, I know that there's a group that wants to put together that there is a tennis league around, and I know that what's going to happen is after basketball's over, the tennis league's going to move in, because they don't have a place to play either, other than the little bit of tennis, I guess, that happens at Perry Earl. And the schools won't allow them on the schools.
Yeah, you can't go in the school, so then you just have Dieter, which.
So we're the only park that's going to be used for tennis too, and that'll be all summer long. And I just can't see that leagues come in there and use that court all the time for their purposes, and not allow the citizens of Ione, because these leagues are from that other town called Jackson.
I know, but we made it a municipal park, which
I know,
kind of
it's a
ties our
regional-
hands
it's
a
a
little bit.
regional
It's not
park,
a
I
regional
understand that.
park. Yeah, not municipal, sorry.
We can still limit it, and this basketball thing, I think it was designed so you could play half-court basketball and somebody could play tennis. You don't need to utilize all 4 half-courts and put tape all over the floor and leave it stuck there, so it's, you saw the complaints.
Well, I think the first thing is a discussion with the leagues. Like, anyone who wants to put a league together actually needs, like, baseball doesn't just go play at Howard Park. They come to the city and they say, hey, we're having an event, or we're playing, this is our season. All leagues should do that, just so that we know, and they show us their insurance. All of that needs to be taken into account for city property. I know the school wouldn't let me practice for a Mother Lode youth soccer on their fields until I showed them insurance. So, I mean, I think it should be the same. So maybe we need to talk to the leagues and.
I was told that insurance is not needed.
Why?
You need to talk to the city attorney, apparently said that.
Don't worry about insurance, we got insurance of the yin-yang.
No, it's not, so most little leagues have to have insurance when you have youth. bothering. Can I just unplug it and talk
Unplug it,
really
try
loud?
it.
Oh, see, that's Angie's.
I'm trying to get a hold of the IT guy.
And it's really hard to think when that's buzzing in my ear.
See if you can use Dan.
You gotta push a button to plug it that way.
No, I forgot where, oh, leagues, talking to the leagues. But I do think either way, insurance or no insurance, most of the time you do need to provide it no matter where you play, because if a kid is injured on during league play, they should be insured for the problem, not us. Even though we have insurance up the yin yang, it shouldn't fall on our dollar if they have insurance for the league.
And that's when we have a contract with these organizations, which we do not
Well-
have a contract.
Well, that's because we haven't asked them for a
Yeah,
contract.
and
And we need to ask them and tell them they either have a contract or they don't practice.
Yeah, so they're so,
It's gotta be
the courts are newer. And I think in Jackson, and I'm curious how Jackson actually does it with the leagues, because my boy played tennis for Jackson and we use the courts. And we were told, they have a code to get into their gates, and we were told at the time that you need to get the code, and then you have a certain amount of time in the courts, and then other people come in. And so we need some kind of system, but who knew putting in nice tennis courts for people was gonna cause such a headache? Like, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's something that we should all just be respectful, and the league, obviously we now have to do something about it, but I first would put in some signage, and I think you should have you should have a fine if your dog is in there pooping and ruining the mats, because there should be something there, but obviously it's still new.
It's not new, people are just ignorant if they put their dogs in there. I mean,
Yeah.
straight up, there needs to be something down there. That's,
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that were going on there that I think it's for tennis and basketball. I really do. That's what it was built for, and I think that should be the first thing that serves it.
Would you want to put a time limit on use before?
So that's where we need to talk to the youth people and just ask them, what are your timeframes? Like, I know they have to do it on a weekend because it's hard to do it during the week, and the courts don't have lights. You have to do it during the week. But I think that's our first step, is to talk to who's playing out there.
And you have to provide a schedule.
Just
Yeah.
chime in here if I may. Sheila I am from Jackson, and I don't play tennis, but I do play theater, pickleball again.
Yeah.
But I will say this, is that you're talking about, to me, you're talking about two things. You're talking about league play, and that's one thing, but then you have the public that just wants to drop in and have a fun game of tennis or basketball or pickleball or whatever, and utilize the court. That doesn't require insurance or legal.
No,
From a personal standpoint.
yeah, our point was, your locals or people can't play because the leagues are in there, and they're not talking with the city about being in the courts.
Right, and I think for us, as far as I know, in Jackson, junior team tennis, which is a league that does utilize a lot of the courts in Jackson, tennis courts,
Yeah.
that they do make arrangements with the city to say, hey, when they have league in session, that they're going to make, these are the days they want to reserve the court, and then there is signage up on the court, and that's just the way it is. But I will say the other thing, what you're talking about is true, especially in terms of Dieter. I think at this high school and what have you, the other courts, there may be locks on the gates and stuff. But at Dieter, we talked about getting a lock, but didn't get a lock because people were not happy about that. And so, yes, it is.
They used to have a coded lock on there when we
Yes,
played for.
not now.
Yeah.
No, it didn't last long, because the public in general couldn't get on the court, and that was a problem. But when you have an open court, obviously, then you've got the problem with like you say, the roller skaters and, all kinds of people coming on the court, utilizing it. Soccer players, in fact, over at Argonaut, playing on the courts.
Yeah,
Is this public comment?
it is public comment. Or no, it's not yet, sorry, we're still discussion on the actual court. So I think that we should just have signage up there and to start with, talk to the leagues, is my opinion on how to start handling this. I don't want to be a Gestapo. I think that it's for the people and people should be able to play on it and utilize the courts. If you are in there and you're doing yoga and you see someone come to play basketball, leave. Just, the respect thing just is one of those things, but nobody wants to be a Gestapo in there. It's supposed to be for fun. It's a tennis court, basketball.
Can we make a motion that we require any organized league to provide their schedule of when they're going to be practicing and when they want to utilize the court, and also to provide us with a copy of their insurance naming the city of Ione as a secondary or third-dairy or...
I don't think that it gets that specific. I mean, you can make a motion like that, but I just think to discuss it with the leagues in the beginning and say, look, if you're going to utilize as a group, as a youth organization, you need to provide us with times when you're going to use it. If you can use it, who knows? Like right now, I know youth doesn't even allow them to play, so it's like parents organizing right now, so they don't have insurance because they're not supposed to be playing.
They need to be limited. I mean, I can see them wanting to play, and I can't disagree with that, but taking all a Saturday,
Yeah, no, I agree.
They were there
So,
all
I mean,
day
we
Saturday.
can put some signage up saying, hour limit per, or you play your 2 sets and let the next group play their 2 sets and just, kind of be on a courtesy. Just putting it up there sometimes makes people feel like they have to listen. It makes them feel more, okay, yeah, it's a 1 hour limit or.
Can I also add that maybe we should put something up as far as a sign reflecting that dogs basically shouldn't be in there?
No dogs
They're not
allowed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
I
think the
agree,
half-court.
I have seen them out
Yeah.
there.
And the half-court basketball as well, like it should say, this is meant to be half-court basketball. And so whatever the verbiage, we'll kind of write something up. We're not gonna get it all right now, but just something. Anything else for right now? Does that work for you? Or did you want more on the leagues? Just right now, I'm not sure they actually exist. I think that these are coaches and people out there, so I don't even know if talking to them is gonna do much.
They are mother lode minors.
Okay,
That's who they are.
It is an organized league.
They're an organized league run by the coaches up in Jackson.
okay. So we'll,
So it's fully organized and it's a travel league, is what it is. They practice here and then they travel to other locations and play their games. They'll play games here also.
that's why they have to do the full court.
But it is an organized, fully organized, you can go on the internet and look them right up and find all who they are. And their names are very, very familiar.
Okay. Well, I do think we should discuss it with them, because no, I don't think that they should take up the courts the whole
I
time.
think if they're gonna come to put the little tape down, it needs to disappear.
Yeah,
When
clean
they-
up
when they
after.
do.
So, make a motion, you have it.
Okay, I'll redo my motion. Make a motion that we send a notice to Mother Lode Minor Basketball League that they get in contact with Ione City to discuss their schedule. How's that?
The schedule and their usage.
And the
Yeah.
schedule and usage.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Come on, Larry.
I just can't believe, when I was one of the first ones the basketball league started here in this little town.
Yeah.
And we got permission from the high school to go play basketball, and there was like 4 of us, and they ended up with a whole county thing. And there's a tennis court in Sutter Creek, there's a tennis court in Jackson, there's a tennis court in this one, wasted. How come these citizens don't go and complain to the school board so you can go do this stuff on the school grounds? This is ridiculous. We don't even need a tennis court. There's one sitting there. There's one in Jackson, there's one in Sutter Creek.
Well, they're on school property.
Yes, but that's our taxpayers' dollars.
Ah.
We support that. And they pay insurance. they pay insurance, our pool's on it. Every pool in the deal except Jackson's is on the school grounds and we can work it out. I mean, all these cities need to get together and use this facility. It's a waste. We got one down here at Rotten, and the Sutter Creek, they rebuild it. But I don't know about Jackson. I ain't been there a long time. And
Yeah.
it's a waste.
Jackson and Ione, their tennis courts that they have down, or their basketball courts down here are a mess at the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's tennis courts.
Yeah, they
I
haven't
played.
taken care of them, the district has not.
Yeah, all you need is net and it just clean the slab up. It's
Yeah.
not a slab, it's the one, I think this is asphalt.
Well,
I
and you're not
believe,
supposed
but
to
it
be
might
on
be-
school
No, it might
property.
be a slab. I think it is a slab.
Yeah.
Don't take none to clean it up, the fence is there.
No,
It's just a ridiculous, we're talking about this stuff, spending money when already taxpayers' money paid for this stuff.
yeah.
And it's sitting there doing
Well,
absolutely
but they
nothing.
don't want people other than students on those courts.
Yeah, but that's not, it never was that way. We're paying
Yeah.
taxes, adults go to school too.
Yeah, like to go on the school property, you gotta go sign in. You're not supposed to be on school grounds without a student. It's just, is what it is.
No, you can beat that, that's a crock, I think.
I don't
Thank you.
think you can. Well, I watched someone be taken down on Ione Elementary and they just walked on school property.
Okay. I've been part of the Amador Tennis Club for many, many, many years.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Oh, Vera Ferguson,
Okay.
live in Comanche, but I go up to Jackson, and we play at the Argonaut High School. Um, It's kind of an organized group through the Amador Tennis Club. We have, I shouldn't say never, but we have, for the 30-plus years we've been out here, only had one incident where there was talk about limiting or charging to go play there. Never that we could or not play there,
Yeah.
okay? Right now during COVID, and the sign is now gone, we had for a very short period of time where they were saying no playing during school hours, which was really no problem because school wasn't in session.
Yeah.
And now I think they're not in session every day, so we communicate with each other, we let each other know when it's allowed, when it's not allowed. And then the other thing is you were talking about getting signs for your courts. Argonaut, Amador, they all have the proper signages, so you could just probably copy that, might be easier than
Yeah.
having to come up with
Right.
wording on your own. But, yeah, we've never had a problem with being able to play at the high schools, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which-
During school hours or out
Which surprises
school
me. I
hours.
tried to practice soccer with my kids over on school grounds over here and they're like, nope, sorry. They wanted to charge me like whatever it was per, yeah,
Over here where.
at Ione Elementary.
Well, then
The
I'd be
district
talking
wanted to
the
charge us,
principal or whoever's in charge of
Yeah.
that, because that's, yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I think school grounds aren't always as friendly as they used to be.
It depends on, yes, it depends on when you go. We've gone into the city and tried to play it on plants.
Well, and the
courts, and
Argonaut tennis courts are really well placed because you don't have to actually physically go onto the upper campus where the students are. It's on a lower area with a different parking space. There's quite a few courts, you
Yeah, but
know,
we've been able to play at the Amador High School as well.
yeah,
Never had a problem.
yeah. Jackson Junior is a little bit different though because it is right by the cafeteria and stuff and they just don't want, not Jackson, I'm sorry, Ione Junior. Because it's right below that area where the students are on the fields. I get that one a little bit more, but.
Right next to it.
And part of the relationship, I think, that Amador Tennis Club has with the schools is that we, through the programs like Sally was talking about, organized youth tennis, they raise funds.
Yeah.
We pay dues to be part of that, and all of that money then helps to fix this or fix that or do that or do this. We've even had individuals come up with large sums of money to put in lighting or, do some major repairs, resurfacing at one point. So there is a benefit to that mutual relationship that we could have either through tennis, or if we end up with pickleball courts, you have an organized, league, that could be possibilities too.
Which I think will come out of having the tennis courts here. I think you'll find that you'll have some leagues kind of pop up. And I know pickleball was something people really want, so
It's harder with 2 courts.
Yeah.
When it comes to tennis.
Yeah.
To do league.
It needed to
Usually
be bigger.
4 courts minimum.
Yeah.
So I think that's set up for more as a casual thing, especially since they decided to do that surface.
Have you played out there yet?
I've played on those courts before when we go up to Tahoe. That's pretty standard up there.
Yeah.
It's fine, but when you're playing league, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's like trying to play pickleball. Yeah, you could probably, but
don't
it
have
just
some
doesn't
movement,
bounce the same. It's just definitely not ideal at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, unfortunately, we did not see the final design.
thank you.
Yes, sorry.
My name is Gil Gonzalez, I'm from Pioneer, and I'm a pickleball player, as I think most of us here are. And we came here because we heard that either proposing or might build or have a area for pickleball players. And it sounds like there's just one area, the tennis courts or the basketball courts, that is there a separate area for the pickleball?
Well, that's what we were discussing, like, it hasn't been here yet to build a new pad that is workable for pickleball. It's been discussed and we have some ideas as to where to put it. The city does have other properties that are here, and there's not much funding for it is the bigger problem, at this point, but.
So it's just a
not that it's-
proposal or whatever to,
Yeah, so,
in the future, but right now, there's no plans to build or fix one?
well, there was.
There was.
Until we were told that the surface was not
Oh, okay.
workable, which is then we discussed putting it somewhere else, a
I
completely
think
separate.
that's number 2 on the agenda.
Yeah,
That's our next point, and
Okay. All right.
we could probably move to it.
yeah.
I tried to.
So any more public comment on the actual
Yeah.
basketball versus tennis?
Yes, I'm Suzanne Mock, and you talk about the half court that is intended out there, because that is a very busy place right now.
Yeah.
I have seen those mats in the Del Webb I used to live at, and they were on the basketball half court that we had, and it's supposed to be very good on the knees as opposed to, it may not be great for tennis.
It's not bad, I
It's
played on it.
okay.
Oh, it's not bad? Okay. So for the tennis ball, it's okay. The pickleball, it falls flat, and I think our discussion went to that. And I know that's the next topic, is putting it in the Earl Perry Park. But I'm just throwing this out there, send it up the flagpole, see who salutes, because I know it's mo money. If you want it to be truly a half court, you almost have to put another fence between the tennis courts. Because if somebody goes out there and makes a full court basketball play, nobody can play tennis.
Yeah. Well, that's what's been
You
happening.
almost have to put maybe a fence between the 2 tennis courts, so that definitely defines your half court. And you don't have the leagues coming in here, putting their tape down and making their full court. And that's the only way I can think of to stop, because right now, it's a train wreck for total congestion between the dogs and the yoga.
The design is poor. It is a
Yeah.
poor design, and I really wish we would have had some final say in the end result of that. Basically, we approved tennis courts. Did you guys ever see a design prior to it being built? None of, and then it was just being done.
Then all you can do is put up a fence and define a
Yeah,
half court and leave it at that. And the kids can go have a half court game and people can play tennis at the same time. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you for
I think we should
everything. I
remove
think
the
it's
basketball.
a great improvement, and you guys
Yeah.
are doing great.
Thank you, Suzanne.
On the sign, there is a sign out there, by the way. It says no pets.
On the tennis courts?
Huh?
Okay.
I actually took a picture of it the other day.
Did you tell the person with the pet in there to get out?
Also, no alcoholic beverages too, so
Oh, jeez. I can't go. No.
you can't.
I play tennis.
One quick comment, because she brought up fencing. I've seen played in a lot of courts that have just a half fence. It's maybe 3 feet high,
Yeah.
just enough to keep the balls that are rolling off the
Like
other
separate?
courts.
Yeah, I've seen that
And
in
would
some of the
help the
southern.
basketball
That's-
situation as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be less expensive.
Right.
You don't have to
Maybe
do
we
the
can look that up.
More than
Yeah, I think-
towering.
I do think the end result is going to be basketball removed from there, and it will be a tennis court. But we would need to find a place for the tennis courts, because that is
For the
something.
basketball.
Basketball,
Found a
sorry,
place for the tennis
sorry.
court.
Yeah.
That has been a request in the city of Ione since I've been part of Parks and Rec, which is 7 years now. I don't know, Janice, it's been a while. But it's been a big request. It's something that I think that we should get done. Right now, it's a kind of a Band-Aid that's up there for basketball, because again, you can't play a full court game in there. It's just not built for that. So, yeah, the multi-use thing was kind of an issue. The reason it was done was for a grant. You could not get the money if it was a single-use item. You had to do a multi-use facility, which is how this came about. But I wish we would have seen a little bit more of the plans.
I wasn't sure of that because I thought
I
the
wasn't correct
basketball, yeah,
So
You were 52.
the basketball wasn't part of it.
it was initially, yeah, I've got old documents. I looked at, remember Stacy and I were talking the other day and I looked up some of my old stuff. But it wasn't part of our initial approval. The tennis courts were.
With the contractor, it
Yes.
was a single use. It wasn't, the
Yes.
the basketball hoops were not part of the original plan with the contractor.
But there was something with the funding, which is why they created that added.
I have someone that said to me that $200,000 came from the county.
Mitigation funds for parks.
No, 50,000.
Yeah.
We
That's
got to
what I
keep the
thought.
rest of it. It was supposed to be a grant, and the city drained all of our money.
The 200,000 came from our city,
Our city, correct.
and the grant was only for 58,000,
There was no grant at
It
all.
was our mitigation park fees.
mitigation
County,
parks
yeah.
fees, which we could have used for what?
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
Anything.
New. Build a new park. Training park.
But it was first sold as it was a grant, and there was never a grant.
Never a grant.
And the county bailed us out by giving us 50 grand to pay off the contract.
I'd like to see that, all that stuff.
Yeah, I would
Like
like
the
to see that
documents.
also.
Yeah, because I've been told different things
I
by
have
different
too.
people.
I was told that it had to be
Multi-use.
multi-use in order to get the grant. That's what I was
Probably
told.
true, but there was no grant.
The mitigation funds from the county, I think is what they said.
But I was also told that the 200,000, understood that 200,000 wiped out our budget, I knew that. But I didn't know there was another money coming from the county.
Right. They helped us because we were stuck.
Right, which helped pay for the last 20K that we had to throw in for the
For the math.
mats that we could take up and not take there anymore.
Okay. Control of funding.
I'd like to see how that all came about, really, I would. I'd like to read it.
Yeah, I would like to see last year's Parks and Rec budget and what went and where it came from. Just the transfer of funding. I know that you do the financial side too, so it's nice that you can see all of that. Okay, so as far as usage, tennis and basketball courts for right now, we'll do with signage, talk to the leagues, and then try to figure out a more permanent solution for all, is what I think we should do, but
Did my motion get seconded?
yes,
Oh, good.
it did.
We
So,
voted on it, didn't we?
yeah, so now we can move forward. It's tax season, it's okay.
Oh, don't talk about it.
Okay, on to number 2, proposed pickleball courts at Perryville Park. Stacy and I briefly discussed it, we haven't really moved forward. Have you done any more on that?
Me and Lori have talked about it, and I think that's where the tennis court should have been built in the first place. But
Yeah,
that's a piece of property that's surplus, and former manager wanted to sell it, and I think we should keep it and rip that hedge out and just extend Perry Old Park, and we can put,
Yeah, so I
we
think,
can put out a bid, not just some state contractor, but we'll put out a bid for a slab.
Three
pickleball
bids?
Or.
3 bids maybe?
Yeah, exactly, think of that.
well, now that, again, I like that lot for some things, but pickleball, I don't think it's big enough. I don't-
yes.
I don't think it's,
Pull out that
It's
red-
117 by 113, that's
It was-
plenty big for a
fire
what's a
fire truck.
pickleball court?
You can pull out that fire truck and put football.
That's what I wanna do, is pull up the fire truck
Remove it,
thing, and that's,
we can
would be a
make that
better
work, and I
place.
think.
You're gonna have some place for the kids to go to the bathroom rather than in the brush,
Exactly.
Good idea.
because that's what's happening, they're going, all those
Yeah.
kids are going to the bathroom in the brush. They hide in.
So are our new friendly visitors from outside of Ione.
So that's something else I should bring up, Dan, too, is we have accepted donation monies for this pickleball thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we should let people know that we have that money and we'll hold it towards this.
Yes,
but
yes.
Maybe it might take too long, so if they want their money back or something.
I agree.
Just to let them know, but we are working on it, but
I'll
the funding for it's gonna be difficult, but maybe we can do it somehow, I don't know.
I'll contact everybody that's in that jar and let them know that if they want their money back, we'll wait until we have the facility ready to put down the lines. They can have their checks back, because nothing's been cashed.
Right, and this one will not cost $250,000, by the way.
No.
Everyone laughs at the $250,000 outhouse we built out at Howard Park, and we just built a $250,000 tennis court, so.
So, and
I see you, Jim, waving your hand, yay!
I do want to mention to public, people who want pickleball courts, we are always up for people getting donations, doing little fundraising, anything you want to do to help Parks and Rec fund some of this stuff. We used to be able to do a lot more of that, and then kind of John put an ixnay on some of our fundraising efforts, so,
We'll fix that. So.
yeah,
I
but,
just wanted to address the people that did donate.
yeah, so, and I didn't really want to respond on Next Door Ione about this stuff, but just, you know, you're all part of the city, and anytime you want to come to the meetings and be part of it and give some thoughts on, you know, are there grants out there for pickleball, or, because I do think our senior community needs a little bit more here. We don't really have a ton, and so, you know, get some people together and see what we can get done. So just throwing that out there for everyone who came for pickleball. We are always up for people giving us suggestions for things like that, so.
Also, we're not gonna not do this.
No, it's gonna
We are
get,
gonna do this.
it's gonna get done. Again,
Can I ask, I mean, obviously, it's in the very early planning stages, is the pickleball, I have two thoughts here in my head. One, I saw on the agenda, it said court without an S on the end. Are you kind of planning one pickleball court? And then the other question I would have is, I mean, you sound like you're being very Ione-centric, which I understand, it's the city and whatever, but hey, we have a pretty decent pickleball, it's not a league officially, but a pretty well-attended pickleball group up here in Jackson, Center Creek, and what have you, and we are starting to collect dues and stuff, and through the Amador Tennis Club as well, we're kind of under their umbrella, but you might want to extend your reach a little bit and mean that Amador County, let's just say.
well, and I believe we wouldn't do one pickleball court. My understanding for pickleball, I've only played a couple of times, is you can fit quite a few courts, two on one tennis court, right?
Going to tennis court.
Yeah, so you can get a pretty decent sized slab and put larger, yeah.
Okay.
So, just,
Probably put 4 on that lot, maybe. I don't know, you know the measurements?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
we
you.
had 2 tennis courts, and they were changed into 6 pickleball courts.
okay. Yeah, so I mean, that's an interest, like, I literally have only played a couple of times, so I don't really know the sizing.
That's growing games
Yeah.
for adults. And
Mhm.
there's young kids, I mean, it's in some of the high school
Yeah.
curriculum.
It's a fun game, I enjoy playing it, and I do, and again, I really do think our seniors need more out here, and I don't think Ione is against having anybody else come in and help. I know our soccer and our basketball leagues or baseball leagues all are Amador County, and they come in and they take care of the fields, they help build them, they help be part of that, so it's kind of the same, like Ione, obviously, we don't have a ton of money, so we just built tennis courts that are not quite what we wanted,
We
so.
have Gil from Pioneer down
Right,
here.
right.
And we're from the pickleball group where we gather in Jackson, and I think Monday we had, what, a dozen people? No, maybe 10.
There's
And
12.
we've got 43 on I run the email roster, we got 43 people I email and announce games and.
Yeah, so maybe if we get some quotes, figure out the cost of what some of this is gonna be, we'll put it out to everybody and figure out a way to get it built.
That
Yeah.
leads right up to what I wanted to bring up, but you're right. If it's not used with tennis, I've seen 6 pickleball courts go in where there's 2 tennis courts. If it's combined, then it's 4 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay? My name's Dave Ferguson. I'm married to this lovely lady over here. As far as the fundraising, because I've been involved with ATC for many years, and yeah, we have resurfaced the courts twice and put in lighting, etc., through fundraising and large donations. I think from what I see in some of the emails that go back and forth on the pickleball, is if you had bids, I don't know, let's say 3 bids, so that you had a rough estimate, even if this spot isn't where you're gonna put it, I
Yeah.
think you said Perry Park or something
Carrier,
like that.
yeah.
If that is some info that you can get out there, it makes it a whole lot easier for people who now want to go raise funds. We know that we have a level that we're shooting for, as opposed to, well, let's just go raise some funds. So if we know that it costs arbitrary numbers, because I have no clue, you know, 250,000, because we're going to use this park, or 500,000, or whatever that number is, then let's start, like blood drives or anything else, let's start moving towards that target. I think you'll get there a whole lot quicker.
Yeah.
So that's my only input on that part.
And this was just recent, we just recently found out that the pickleball would not work there. We thought that it was going to go where the
Yeah,
tennis
it won't bounce
courts were.
on it.
Right,
It won't bounce.
but we weren't aware of that until just fairly recently.
And the net could never work, the tennis net could never work for pickleball.
No, we looked at laying it out different ways, similar like they do it at Dieter.
Yeah, we talked.
But it doesn't, it works great for tennis. I played tennis for years, it's easier on your knees. So I imagine the basketball thing might be the same way. But yeah, if we know a number that we're shooting at, I think you'd be surprised how quickly you could raise money, you know, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
I just want to say that I think you've got the pickleball group in Jackson is ready to rally for about anything.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll figure out the bids and what we really need, like, I don't know, they went with a professional company to put this out, and we have a lot of things we probably didn't need, like the pads. So, I mean, maybe the design needs to be more simplistic, you know, you're surfacing your basics, or like, I don't know.
Concrete.
Feedback.
Well, you know, asphalt's better. Go out to somebody like Saviano who does tennis courts, and you might be surprised, they probably do pickleball courts, okay?
Yeah, a lot of them.
That's
They've
true.
been involved in a lot of tennis courts that have been involved in getting resurfaced. So you could just reach out to a few of those guys and say, hey, I need a rough estimate. And at least that gives you somewhere to start.
Asphalt is better than.
Asphalt's better than concrete on the legs.
Don't we have, when you said asphalt, don't we have someone trying to put an asphalt plant in close to Ione?
Yeah, that's probably years away.
Or years away?
Argonaut's asphalt. The tennis courts at Argonaut are asphalt. Tennis courts at Amador are asphalt.
At Dieter or asphalt.
I think our old ones here are the same. I think they're asphalt, I don't think they're concrete. You think they're concrete?
I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't remember. No, I think the ones up at school are concrete. The ones up at junior high.
I'm gonna go with
If we wait until Wildflower puts in their entrance to the highway there, we can probably go grab that contractor, and I bet Wildflower will donate the whole pad for nothing if it's asphalt.
Well, let's get some dimensions, some numbers, and see what we're looking for. I mean, I'm happy to do some of the footwork, but if you know the people there.
Yeah, and Thomas is wanting to donate money, but he wants to make sure it goes to the right spot.
Yeah, okay. Let's find some people to, I know, it's just, when you get a project like this, it starts here and then you gotta kind of build it up, so my mind just went like that. Stace, we'll talk this week. We'll get dimensions. Suzanne, I might hit you up for dimensions as well.
We sent an email to Dan.
Dan's got all
Okay.
the
Yeah, they
I got a whole book full of dimensions.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's all over it.
I think that they went over that quite a bit, and you were out there
Yeah,
measuring.
Dan's pretty,
Yeah,
pretty
20 by 40.
For how,
structured.
20 by 40 for each court.
Yeah, they're small, there doesn't take a lot of room.
Yeah, but I think right where that fire engine is, there's a really nice,
I really think if we take out that row of shrubs,
That whole lot next door is,
that whole lot's
that's ours.
yeah.
that vacant lot that's got nothing on it, if we take all that shrubbery out,
You think
just make
it
it,
will be bigger and,
oh, it'd be huge.
Oh, yeah. It's 117 feet wide.
Yeah, that's a big piece of land, those shrubs don't need to be there, they were there.
40?
yeah.
Couple of times.
There's a couple of pickleball courts in that side of the lot. And there's power and there's sewer.
Yeah, I knew
Okay,
that.
that's what I was going for. I'm Jeannie Wilson, I'm from Jackson. We're new to Jackson, and we came from Groveland, which had beautiful pickleball courts, and you're just talking about courts. Have you thought about lights as well?
So, yeah, that's in a neighborhood, it would be.
I was
really
just wondering,
far.
that might be something that the pickleballers could, fund up, get funds for it and everything. Because
Location.
there's a lot of people that still work and may want to come after work. And in the summertime, you don't want to play in the middle of the day.
That's why most of these things are at Howard Park, because it's really hard. But Howard Park closes at dusk as well.
Oh, okay.
And so
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things that,
The other thing that we had was a gate code to get in. But that, kind of eliminated people walking on the court. I don't know if that will work with your system or not. And in regards to a potty, we have one porta potty. You just have to plan ahead.
But there's actually 2 parks at this location now. There will be 2
There
parks.
will
There
be,
will be
kind
a
of,
child,
there's-
Okay, because I heard him talking
Yeah.
about children going in the bushes and all
well,
that kind of
there's
stuff.
a kids park right there that
Okay.
was built when Castle Oaks came in.
Okay, because you probably get a lot
Or
of people
JTS.
in Castle Oaks is what you're gonna get. And we never played pickleball till we moved up there, and it's amazing how many people are playing it now, and they have huge tournaments in Arizona and Southern California and everything. So it's being
I
progressive.
know, I played in Palm Desert, which is where I first
Yes,
learned of pickleball.
yes, there's a big one down there and everything, and I think your Castle Oaks area would probably bring in a lot of people to play as well, or to fund even some of the ideas to extend it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Just one more comment. If this turns into an actual club league for pickleball, it would bring in a lot of business into Ione because people are willing to travel. Tennis, as you probably already know, people travel all over. I used to travel all the way down south to Tracy, and you go where you love the sport.
Yeah.
And so that would bring in a lot of business to the area, so.
Yeah. It does.
Just a thought.
This is Sheila from Jackson, and I can tell you, just from our limited experience, again, we don't have here in Jackson for pickleball, but I will say this, especially though it's not the COVID year, but prior, one of the things about being here, like in Jackson, and I think the same thing would happen in Ione, is that, like with the Rancheria, for instance, us in Jackson, we kind of teamed up with the U.S. Pickleball Association, and I was shocking during the summertime how many people, just, for out-of-towners, when they found out, there's pickleball there in Jackson, they wanted to come play. And so and I think that's kind of how we got the lines on Dieter Court, the blended lines, was because we told the city for a very minimal cost to put some lines down on Dieter is that, you're encouraging tourism, because there is, especially with the senior population, and not just the senior population, but pickleball is accessible to so many people. And so I just keep that in mind, is I think if you build it, they will come.
I like that.
And the Jackson Rancheria, I think, made quite a contribution to, like, even the baseball field. They contributed a lot to that city of Jackson, and I don't know why Harris, I know they're doubling down on contributions, and I know they've done the police, added the police for you, and they've done some things, but they could step up to the plate too. But my final thought is, pickleball is not just a senior game. It's a great game to play with your grandchildren because it's fair and it's balanced. And the story behind it is, I think it was a senator in Washington who made this game up, and the kids could play, and every age could play. And the dog Pickles used to go get the ball, so it became pickleball, and that's where its name came from. But yes, we play with our grandkids because it's the size appropriate for children, and they have something called a kitchen, so you can't go up to that net and giant dominate, and they make you play a game that's fair and young and old, and it would be a great park feature with grandchildren, for grandparents, because they can both play.
I played with teenagers and they ate it up. Ate it up.
That's true.
Okay, so at this point, I think it's still kind of beginning stages, so we'll get together and kind of get some better ideas of where to go forward, where to put it. Like, depending on how large it is, Perrier may not be the place for it, only when you think of parking and too many people in a neighborhood. You just don't know if you want them right there. I know if I lived across the street from pickleball, I wouldn't want the big lights over it, and you know.
Ball's noisy.
Well, and there's neighbors all right. It's a little neighborhood park. It's not like Howard. So
Where ours was in a condo complex, and we couldn't start before 8 o'clock, I think is what it was. There were hours.
yeah,
So because the ball makes a noise, it's a wiffle ball.
yeah. Well, and so that's the thought of not having lights at it is it'll stop people from playing too late when neighbors are. But that's like further down, so we'll discuss more of that coming up. Yeah, because again, it's new. We were going to put it right where it was, and it didn't work out. So come back to that maybe the next meeting to see where we are. Okay?
Yeah, I think we've talked enough about it.
Yeah. Okay. Per capita grant, Depot Park.
Thank you.
You want to sit over here?
I think they just want
Well, I know it was approved. Thank you guys for coming.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm not sure if at the last meeting, I let this committee know that the per capita grant has been executed. It's went through the channels of approval, and it will be available now to the city. There's a 20% match on that grant, so the city's going to have to put 20% of I believe it was $177,000. At the council meeting, there was some question about what the funds could be used for, and we received clarification that it's not for the depot building, but for the park area. Yes, for the park area.
So the money is $177,000 a grant, and Ione has to come up with $35,400 to their 20%.
Correct.
Can we go to the county for any of that? For the mitigation funding, our parks fees? From building and permits?
Yeah, where's all that money?
The impact fees is what just paid for the tennis courts.
Yeah,
So it's,
I know, but they're still building, so like how often does the county?
Yes.
And I know that I was just reassessed, and it's disgusting.
We could
So
find that
fees
out.
are coming somewhere, like, yeah, I know, Larry. Okay, so
But wait,
it's a park only, and when the design, now I know we have a basic design, but like
There's a
where,
real engineered design,
again,
you need to see it.
we need
It
to
should be on
see
the
it,
wall.
and it should be approved, I think the parks body should approve it, like, I know that, I don't know when it was done. I think we came in here with how many concepts, we had 10 concepts or
I think we
something?
had one, Lori, so since I've been on the commission, there was one that came out.
Okay,
I don't know if that's the same one.
There's one that's been actually engineered and as a plan.
which we
That's
needed to get the grant, you needed something, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
is there like bids on what this thing's gonna cost?
Well, kind of.
Kind of, because it's
this is
212,000.
just going to be the beginning stages of this, because the
Wait, Larry, let me open it up in just a second, give me just a
I
second.
could give you some information.
Well, I was gonna
on
ask
that.
you, 'cause I
He's
know you
trying-
have-
Jake is trying to get some bids because you don't have any idea what they want yet. I mean, we got the design, but they're doing away with the building, it's just the front part, so it's gonna change most of the scenario of
Okay,
it.
so why are they doing away with the building?
Because of coastline.
Because some
Our
manager
city
made
engineer
sure that it
doesn't
wasn't
want it, so
building.
we kiboshed it.
Okay, so here's a
That's a
problem.
long,
We are,
complicated story.
Why would he do that? Can you?
like, we don't understand, so having said all this, being Parks and Rec, we should know that, right? Like,
Most
it's,
people don't know this, and I'm just letting you guys.
yeah, but
letting
I'm just
everyone know
saying,
what's
it
going
should
on.
be something that is part of the city council and everything and moving forward.
Can you repeat what you just said about
And your
what?
past manager, when he first came here,
Yeah.
said it's the first thing on his list is get rid of that building,
Okay,
and Coastline backed him up.
who did?
Coastline.
Our city engineer.
And Uncle Jake's been fighting and fighting to get that thing built and moving, and we actually had Weber Engineering donate engineering time, but most of that money that's been raised has went to Coast Fund overstamping Weber's designs.
Okay, so the park,
It's very complicated, but
so the park itself,
the park itself is grant money.
yes.
It's going to
That's
just be
for
for
the
the park in the
park.
front.
Which
everyone-
honestly, I think it will help us in the end for the depot, because it'll
It
see
will.
that things are
Yes.
moving
Yeah,
forward.
we'll do that, or
Yeah.
put the hopefully, we'll be able to get the bathrooms there.
Yeah.
He don't know whether to get enough money for the parking spaces, that's one of the problems.
But you guys do need to see the plans.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
So when can we see them?
What,
Do we have a set of plans down here now?
they're here somewhere, but
Could we add that to
Where
next
they're at.
month's?
Yeah, we can get them, oh yeah, I can get them for you next week.
Great,
Okay.
let's get them next
I
week.
can
I
bring
don't know
them
that
down,
I've
yeah,
actually
see
seen
them,
the
look at them.
plans.
No, whether it was a set give to him, is Jake had 3 sets made,
Yeah.
There was a set down here, I know I've seen them.
and that costs more
I can't
money
remember.
to
It
make
Costs more
another
money
set.
than plans in the building.
If we did, I
I
just
think
can't,
you did too.
I can't
There was
remember.
3 sets, I think, he kept one, there was 3 sets of plans. Anyway, that's where it's at. I mean,
Well-
he called me about the fence today, because he wanted to find out about the fence we're gonna put up. Because a lot of this is gonna, I don't know, 177,000 is gonna handle a lot. He's trying to get people to do the grading for the drainage of it.
Yeah, because don't we only have a certain amount of time to utilize these
He
grants?
got the 2024.
Yes, it's
You
quite
have
a long
time, okay. All right,
And you gotta have the money to maintain it too. That's all I know about it right now.
We've
I
been
know
offered
he's-
$2 million, but the reason they won't give it to us is because they know the city will not maintain this.
so,
The city won't do what?
Won't maintain it.
Won't maintain the building?
The park
park.
has been.
The park.
The park itself.
Yeah, because we never set aside any money for maintenance, we just build things and never set aside
It's
anything.
because they don't want to maintain things. but we're changing that.
Good.
The city should maintain every park.
Well, yeah.
Yes, which is one of the reasons I initially got involved with Parks and Rec. I noticed the parks were not being taken.
I think you guys should have some plans. I didn't realize you
I'll
guys
give
didn't
them-
have.
Yeah, we haven't seen them, so
I haven't seen a
I
thing, and I've only been here a couple of years, so maybe that's why.
would like
Well,
to
that's
see,
been recent.
Unfortunately, it was management,
Yes.
nothing else,
yeah,
and communication.
we need to revisit Parks and Rec and what their role is. Because I can waste every Tuesday from here until whenever, and if you're just kind of ignored as a body, we should discuss that.
That's the problem.
Yeah, we do need to discuss that.
You guys should be in charge of Parks and
We
Rec.
should maybe have not maybe, well, I mean, you could do a giant meeting on what Parks and Rec should do and what their authority should be. So,
I think we need to be clear on what our authority is.
that's what I'm
Because I
saying,
know in the past what we were told, that we're just basically a body,
an advisory.
an advisory, like an ad hoc committee of some sort, that would just move things forward to city council.
Which should still
So-
need, it still needs an approval, however, I think that it, we should have that discussion.
I agree.
Okay. I have the old binder that tells us, if you ever want to see it.
Okay. Put it on next-
It's huge.
Let's put it on the agenda.
All right. We will, we'll put it on the next agenda. Can I maybe start working on it before the next meeting so that we can kind of come together and, we'll do all fighting. Okay. Sorry, that was off topic. I apologize. I'll keep us moving. Any Depot Park, any questions from the commissioners?
No, I just want to put it on.
We wanna see the
so we
plans?
See the
Yeah.
plans and whatnot, see what's going
Okay.
on.
Public comment? No? Okay, closing forum. Oh, sorry.
I think Lori Lord wants to say something.
Lori?
Unmute her.
Tell her to unmute her.
I'll save it for another time, thank you.
Are you
Okay,
sure?
We can hear you now.
Well, the one thing is that you guys are all talking amongst yourselves so much. Stacy, we only hear you mumble in, and it's just been a little confusing on this end.
It's our,
It's the microphones.
Our
that do
mics.
that.
Microphones are not.
We got the IT coming tomorrow to fix it. We can't talk into the microphones, otherwise there's too much background noise. Someone messed up the system.
sorry about that, Lori.
Your Zoom people will appreciate that when it's fixed.
Yes, I agree.
Everything else is, I can't, yeah, it's too confusing right now, so I'll talk.
I'll personally come and fill you in tomorrow. Will that make you happy? I guess not.
Sure, that'll be fine, but that's
Okay.
I'd like to be part of whoever gets together to put together a final design. My key interest is in the landscaping,
Okay.
so that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Some public comment. Status of Nexus.
Oh, I apologize, I have one more thing, Angela.
Oh, that's okay.
I thought I heard Larry or somebody ask about fencing. I have already gotten a fencing bid to use what's there to cordon off the depot itself so that, so that the park can be worked on. I got it from Defense Man, and I'm happy to give it to whoever would like to have that, if that's Lori or Lori.
Who needs the fencing?
Pardon?
I was,
I couldn't hear.
oh,
You
Larry.
can forward it to Lori McGraw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause-
I'll bring it up.
thanks, Lori.
You bet.
Okay,
Don't skip number 4.
Number 4.
I'm not,
Oh.
I'm not. Hold on, I was just closing. The Depot Park one, but I'm trying to talk into the microphone for them, but it's, oh, you unplugged me anyway. Okay. So number 4, propane tank at Howard Park. I don't know.
It's against the city ordinance to have a above-ground tank within the city limits. It's a $1,000 fine. So we have a propane tank at Howard Park, above-ground tank.
At Evelyn Bishop Hall,
Yes, why?
because it's what the kitchen cooks off.
But that's,
No, no, no,
It's-
no, 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 no.
it's
no,
also
no, no,
illegal.
no, no. The kitchen has got natural gas. Been there forever.
So what's the propane,
The
I assumed it was
propane
for
tank is for the
this.
new emergency generator that somebody
which-
put in.
Which, it's an emergency haul. It is our rescue.
Yeah, but you cannot have an above-ground
Can't have a
tank.
propane tank.
It's against the city ordinance.
So here's what happened.
To me,
They
that's
put
a
in the
safety
gener-
thing.
No.
Yes.
Well, it is a propane tank same at the school. They'll blow it up, they'll take out the school. So Kenny is even wanting to rip it out. So when I went down there, I said, why are you guys not hooking to the natural gas? And I said, is it because the regulator is too small? And PG&E said, yes. And I said, can you put a bigger one in? They said, no problem. I said, why is there a propane tank here? And they said, well, your manager told us to put it in there. So, Kenny, I told Kenny to write the city $1,000 violation.
Hey, great.
But
Give him a ticket.
we are going to figure out how to, I'm gonna trench the ditch, we'll call PG&E, they'll change, this ain't gonna cost much, but the pipe to fix it, but we gotta wait a little bit because this was paid for by COVID money, which got signed off, and I talked to the county and they said, wait a little bit so the thing mellows out, because if it looks like we're removing something that was COVID money, but it's illegal even to put it there to begin with. So the tank will be removed, because you go look, it's built right by the horse track,
Right in the middle of
right in the middle of the
everything.
nicest, greenest part of the lawn out there where we do cow chip bingo.
It's right on cow chip bingo.
Yes, ruined that whole part of Howard Park.
I don't think I've seen
Again, you
this.
guys should have picked around things.
I walk around there all the time. How do I?
Go over by the beer garden.
You know where the beer garden is and where the
And-
food
and
stuff
turn-
is?
and turn
Right
around and
there.
look.
Where if you're trying to sneak onto the track so you can go to the soccer field right behind Evelyn Bishop Hall.
Yeah.
Right by the petting
Drive
zoo,
right through there?
Right there.
right next to the petting
Okay.
zoo.
And the city also wanted to fence that whole area off, which would have wiped out 1/4 of all the grass at Howard Park. So,
Yeah.
what should have been done, that generator should have been built right next to the building by the gas line, hidden in there, like where the air conditioners are, and no one would see it, and then that'll be fine. So, yeah, so now we have a real safety hazard that we gotta remove, and
It's,
Sheldon knows a lot about gas and even what is going on.
Yeah, well,
You got a lot of gas, Sheldon?
yeah.
honestly, I know that it's at
Me too.
Howard Park, but I don't think it's
I
a
worked in
part,
the
and this
industry
is, it's
for
a
about 20
safety
years.
thing that city council and you.
Right, but it's, again, that's something you guys
Yeah.
should have been able to say, you know, okay, that's good to have the generator there, or not. You should,
Well,
you
even-
guys are
even-
Parks and Rec.
I can understand the generator being there, I mean, but if they're gonna put something in the park, it looks to me like Parks and Rec or somebody should have been
Yes,
notified about this situation and why you would spend thousands and thousands of dollars just because it was there for a propane tank when you've got natural gas there
yes.
that is cheaper. You have to make one little change
To an orifice. Yes.
to an orifice. You have to increase the size of the orifice because natural gas doesn't burn as hot as propane. But that's the only thing that has to be done.
Yes.
It's a simple process.
So it's just an item that Dan and I agreed to throw on there, just let everyone know
Let-
that that
let-
happened.
Because we need to know. I mean, if
Yeah.
we're Parks and Rec,
I-
we need to know this
So
stuff.
I understand that it's at the park, but I would have just started, and like, get that thing out of there. But I guess you can't, so.
I went over and lifted the lid and looked at the knobs, and any kid can go over there and play with it
You
if he
can go over
wants.
there, you could go over there and actually, I know how to do it, there's probably a lot of people that do. I could go over there and disconnect that and steal that propane and fill tanks.
Now, that's an idea.
Yes,
Is the one that Ace fills propane tanks with, is that?
that would, it would be, well, no, they got a pump that they use. This, you just use the pressure out of the tank to do it. But you could do it. You could steal gas there, I've done it 1,000 times.
You know, the police department's right there.
No, I'm talking about when I worked in the industry, we used to do that all the
He's
time.
not stealing, he's just moving it from one entity
Just
to
moving it
another
from one
entity.
entity to another tank.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
But if you want to see something spooky, back in Wyoming, when it was 30 below zero, we poured diesel on the ground underneath the propane tanks
Oh, to warm them up?
and lit them on fire so that they would heat up enough to gasify.
Okay. All right, now that we all know what's at Howard Park, let's get it going.
It's a new toy.
Thank you for letting us. Public comment on that? No? Okay. Moving on to number 5, status of nexus and impact fee study.
I spoke with Shane at Tossig, that's who was awarded that,
It's all of
just talk really loud.
Right.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to hear me.
Maybe stand at the podium.
Not right,
Okay. I spoke with Sean at Taussig, that's who was awarded the Nexus study when it went out to bid. And I asked him what happened. He said he really didn't know. He said that just the communication dropped off. He didn't get the documents that he had put out, and it just fell to the wayside. He said he's definitely interested in picking it up and moving forward with it. And that will be one big thing that I believe that the Parks Committee can contribute to, because that's what, that Nexus study determines the projects that can be built with the impact fees for the city.
Yeah.
So the Parks and Rec Commission has a really big part in that, making sure the items that are on that list are actually what the community wants.
Which we've done twice now, if anyone else remembers.
3 times.
Yeah, we've gone to meetings at Evelyn Bishop Hall to come, and with people coming from the community. They did this whole project when they did the county Nexus study, and they brought people out, and we have lists of the stuff people have asked for. And then we did it again when we didn't like the county one, and then we were gonna do an individual Ione one. And then that's where it kind of broke off again, but we've met with the community several times about.
We started here and then went to Howard Park.
Yeah, because so many people wanted to be part of it.
Okay.
So yeah, we have lots of information for them.
Okay.
Thank you.
I guess I'm stupid. I'm looking up the term nexus. You know, we use terms around that I've never, I'm not, it's not a tax term, so I don't
No,
deal
it's,
with it. It's just to identify areas within the community that citizens are interested in having provided to them because they live here. Is that
Yes.
kind of what it is?
that's the whole
That's the
encompassing
basic,
study.
yeah, that's kind of what it is.
But you
Yeah.
can't
But you gotta,
use-
it's kind of a general plan where you have,
And it can't be too general, because if it's not on there, then you can't
yeah,
use
it's
certain funding.
it's not a general plan, it's where you.
Yeah.
And some things are allowed and some things are not
For
allowed.
example, pickleball was never on any of our Nexus studies early on, so.
Because
they-
nobody knew what pickleball
Well,
was.
but they update them, so you update them every 5 years, we've had a Nexus study update, and then this past one, we decided to work with the county. Normally, we've done our own.
It's
But-
basically a wish list, and the last time I
Yeah.
talked with someone about it, they said you put everything you ever dreamed of on it, because.
Because if it ever comes up, you
Dreamed of pickleball, it
can do
would've
it.
been-
Yeah, then you got your.
And then to fund that, it comes from the impact fees
You
from
can then
developers,
use-
is that what, and
Yes.
that money is
There you go.
1.2% that we get from, is that what that is?
But it's more than just the Nexus study. There are some grants and things out there that if it's not part of your community plan, you can't utilize funding for it. So it is an important tool, but I don't think it needs to be updated as often as it has been. But we've never actually received a new one since I've been part of Parks and Rec. We've done the work a couple of times.
I don't know that I've
Have you
seen the
seen,
county.
have you seen the county report? I probably have it, because that was really disappointing with the dollars they were trying to give to the city of Ione.
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah,
part.
it was a disappointing turnout, so,
They had millions of dollars and Ione got $1.50.
yeah.
So the 177,000 for the depot park came in because of a Nexus study somewhere back in time? That's on a study?
They had to make an amendment to put her on the next.
They did put an amendment to it,
Nexus, so it had to be approved as a park site and everything, and then. to
which
get
I don't
the
even
grant.
know if it was something you could do, but I guess you could.
What?
Normally, from what John originally had said, you can't add to a Nexus study.
Exactly.
So then he did it,
Yeah. Same
so,
thing with the tennis courts, they
Yeah.
were moved.
so, anyway.
Yeah.
enough about that part though. So are we going to move forward? Are we gonna
We are.
put it back out to bid?
No,
Do
no,
we
no.
trust
No,
John's bids
no.
on this?
We've worked with this company with other, in other areas with the
Okay.
city, so I would prefer to
The
pick up and,
confidence?
yes,
Okay.
I'm confident.
That's the one we interviewed and talked to.
Yeah, we interviewed like 3.
Yes.
That's the one we finally.
So
Okay.
just from my understanding, then what happens was, when you put it out to bid to someone to do this study, what they'll do is they'll interview people within the city, citizens, and find out what they want, find out what the Parks and Rec wants, find out what the city council wants, find out what Larry wants.
What he'll normally do is start from the last Nexus study.
Right.
See what's
Or
actually
what's
been
there,
put
what's been
in,
done,
and then
add to it,
you add to it
or
from there.
subtract from it.
And then there's percentages of your city growth, there's things that are involved in it that are more,
Yeah,
like what can be used, like where are you gonna be in 20 years? Like how far forward do you wanna look at this? So like our last one, the Q Ranch was kind of still being talked about,
Yeah.
more than I've heard recently. So we were discussing like big regional parks there for, was it a big municipal
Yeah.
park? Like Folsom has some of those bigger parks, like Dieter. We have Howard Park, but we've now made it a regional park, so. There's more to the Nexus study than just adding on what you want. It's kind
Yeah,
of,
it's a pretty complicated, there's a lot of great big companies that do these things, and all cities do them.
So they can make money, okay.
well, and one of our major problems with our past ones is they've really concentrated on Howard Park only. And so we were trying to add
Which
our
is a
other,
regional park.
right, which we were trying to add our other areas of Ione to our Nexus, including the Depot Park. And everything should be kind of spread out, dispersed throughout town, not in one area, so.
Could I ask a question? Could we possibly have the gentleman from this specific firm make another presentation to us? Would that be feasible right now with COVID or?
Last time he came out of San Francisco area, so I think that it would be feasible to have him.
Well, you could even do it as a Zoom if we did the camera, like, can't we Zoom?
Well, we want to make sure everything's working.
We gotta get everything working.
Yeah, I don't want anything like this.
For sure, I know.
Just as an update, I think it would probably answer a lot of your questions, Dan, if we would actually have them specifically make a presentation to us again.
And we can get the copies of the old
Mhm.
Nexus
That'd be
to
great.
you, because I think I have them.
I think I do too, and we
Yeah.
can put them all together.
Because I'm the new guy, and what do I know?
Yeah, so Lori, if you don't have those Nexus studies and don't know where to find them, I have copies.
I have the city's Nexus study, but I don't know that I've seen that. I don't know that I have seen the city's
Okay.
Nexus study.
Yeah,
All right,
we have part of it.
public comment?
Yes, I have one.
Go ahead, Lori.
Go ahead, Lori.
Can you clarify, I didn't quite hear what Lori said. So I remember when Taussig was hired, and then I think she said, the study that they were hired to do fell by the wayside. Does that mean that when they contacted somebody at City Hall, they weren't responded to? I would have thought they were the driver on that study, so how did it fall by the wayside?
Hold on, she's going to a microphone.
I don't really have that information for you, Lori. John was the contact with Shane, and I don't know what took place, but I asked Shane, and he said that he had sent out information and didn't receive everything back, and apparently there was no further contact made from the city with Shane. So he didn't go into the specifics.
Okay, so we would be starting from the beginning, they haven't been paid their fees yet because there's been no work done. So it's basically, we're at the beginning of doing that with Taussig then.
That's accurate, yes.
Okay, all right, well, that sounds like good. All right, thank you.
Lori was also on a lot of that stuff with us when she was Parks and Rec, so she would be an asset. Okay, so, yeah, that would be something I'd move to the next agenda as well. If we could get the guy in here for the next meeting, that would be great. See what he has even, because he did have preliminary, and if he still has those items. and then where we want to go from there. That's where I would go with that one. Set date for 2021 goal meeting. We should have done this in last year. So we can do that. I
Is that held in Cancun or where?
Right, right. So normally that's kind of done more midday. I know, so we'll get together, we'll give everybody's availability, tell us what you're probably more difficult than the rest of us.
I'm not.
No, not difficult, but like you,
She's
No, I'm
retired.
retired. I've been retired for a year.
oh yeah, I remember that. Well, so just give us your availability, because I'm pretty flexible, so. Just, I work from a.
Check your emails, please.
Okay. I need to switch my email to my work email, I really do. I'll update you with that.
I have
Janice.
emailed you before.
I know, I apologize, it's I have 8,000 and I delete them and then I have 3,000.
I'm the one that's buried right now, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
After,
me too.
after Dan gets free.
And it looks like they're gonna-
day.
Looks like they're gonna extend it to June 15th. Maybe.
Yeah, I need to do my taxes.
I do it on a Saturday, no.
Like, yeah, we'll kind of put out an email, if, I'll look at it when we're available. And we'll, do you want to do that before next meeting? I mean, it's 2021 and we're going into March, so probably,
Whatever.
okay. All right, so, what do we got here? Tuesday, this building is used, correct? Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Okay. So what's on Wednesdays?
Nothing.
Maybe next meeting's what, the 30th? Yeah, March 30th. So maybe the 23rd or the 16th, or sorry, the Wednesdays, 24th, 10th, I'm gone on the 17th.
No, the next meeting's the 23rd. It's the 4th.
Oh, 4th Tuesday, you're right, we had 5.
Yeah.
So 10th, tentative,
But how long will those normally last?
March 10th. Well, usually we should come to the meeting with an idea of what we want to accomplish for the year, each one of us. And so it shouldn't be too long, because
What time would
a
that
lot of
be?
us have the same goals. 6 is fine for me, 5 is fine for me.
See, I can't do it at night at all.
Okay,
I have a
so,
meeting every Wednesday night.
okay. What works for you on Wednesdays?
Anything, but I have a meeting in the morning that ends about 9:30 and a meeting at night that starts at 6 o'clock. So anything in between would be fine.
I have a 12:30 meeting that day.
Okay.
Do we work it into, it's not gonna be long, can we work it into the 23rd? The next regular meeting?
If we are prepared, like, we would all have to really be prepared to do it at our meeting.
Well, what can we do before the meeting, then have a regular meeting?
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, I get what you're saying, get here early.
Get here early.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so you're not going till 9 at night.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
know,
idea.
I'm trying to
Can we
rush.
change it to 5?
Yeah,
Does 5 work for everybody?
we can do that meeting at 5 and then move into our agenda for our regular scheduled meeting.
Good idea,
Okay,
Shelby.
the 23rd,
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, we'll do that.
5 o'clock.
Yep. And just, I would say, just be prepared, and it would be better if we had the Nexus study to look at first. But, you know,
You mean the old one?
well, even any of them, just to be like, you know, these are things that we wanted to accomplish in the past. Like, I know pickleball would be one of them.
Should we try to, stupid,
Mine's shut off, so it's not me.
should we have the presentation first then? If he could come up
Well-
on the 23rd and then,
It'd be nice for you guys to have all your stuff like a presentation, you could present it to them.
But
Save
for
a
sure,
hassle.
yeah, so if our goal can be in the Nexus study, Do you see what he's saying? Like, yeah, so I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need the presentation of the Nexus, because the Nexus study's not gonna have anything, this one is not gonna have anything at all on it. I mean, there's nothing there.
So we still are going off the old one, but it's, I think it's out of date. So we don't have a lot of money, so keep that in mind when we do our goals for 2021. It could be creating like park pickup groups to clean up our parks that don't cost money, more of a, things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big, obviously we have pickleball, the Eco Park, things like that we want to try to move forward on. Get the propane tank out of Howard Park,
Yeah.
Well, it's not only that, you're gonna have things come up like the BMX, if that gets going good, you're gonna have different stuff come up that you want to look into.
So maybe think of things that are ongoing, things that we haven't started but have discussed, at moving forward on this, so. And any of us who do have the old Nexus study, maybe refer back to it. I will get that to you before we move
Give them
forward.
one too.
Yeah, I will. Okay. Any public comment on 2021 goals? Okay. Closing public comment. And so members report future agenda items.
Let's see, we want.
Well, we wanted, so let's try to make it light next time if we're gonna start. Well, first of all, we should get back to that if we have him coming to speak with us, if we can get him in, so if you'll let us know. Maybe a couple of these will be a revisit, like just where we are with the pickleball bids and things like that, so it'll probably come throughout the month.
I think the citizens are gonna push the pickleball, and
Yeah.
they're on next door all the time,
Yeah.
so I would stick with that one.
Yeah. And then the others were kind of updates anyway, so. The only other thing I really would like on a close agenda is Parks and Rec financials. I actually would love to see them for the last 2 years.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't been given anything. We used to get them all the time and go through them, and we have not received anything. And I know there was changing of guard and thing going on,
And in the financials right now, the parks is included in Public Works, so it's all lumped
it's,
together.
it's parks and, I'll bring you down some of the stuff we used to get and how they would break it out.
Okay.
So that you can get an idea of what we used to receive. And they tried to break down Howard Park the best that they could to see what parks portion was versus Public Works. I'll bring it down to you. I have some years of it
Okay.
that I'll.
So why are we, is there any way that we can break away from that and be our own? Instead of
Not
being-
really, because the Public Works covers all
The
of
dollars,
those
yeah,
areas.
all the management of it.
The only part that is separated out is the streets department, that is in its own fund. And the sewer department goes into the sewer funds. And then the remaining of it is the rest of the Public Works budget, which includes
Parks and Rec budget.
parks and, yeah.
Which we've been able to kind of separate a little bit. I'll bring it down to you,
Okay.
just so you can get an idea. I'll email you and see if we can meet up.
Okay, I do know that we put project codes on expenses so that they're tied to either EB Hall or the arena or.
Yeah, it's always
those
been a little
specifics. Yeah.
bit of we had to go through it to kind of figure it out, and we would go through gas and maintenance and things like that to try to break it down as much as we could, what percentage was parks versus Public Works.
The things that we've been talking about now are more of the impact fees, which is kept in a completely separate fund.
Okay.
It's not in the general fund. Your Parks and Rec is part of the general fund, but these projects that we're looking
Those are
at,
different
those
funds.
are kept in impact fees, in parks impact fees.
Okay.
Nobody can hear you.
Okay, so next time our system will be up and running. We apologize to those Zoomers out there that did not get to hear a lot of the meeting.
It'll be fixed tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I believe it is available to view is it on Voice of Ione? No, he doesn't put it up anymore.
Yeah, Jim will have it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and I do have the total recorder also recording, so
okay.
we can send that if needed.
Yeah, so we apologize for that.
Question, Jennifer?
Yes, I'm sorry, I came in late. I missed about the tennis courts, the usage and regulations. I was actually one of, or I don't know if anybody else has, but I was on next door, kind of complaining a little bit about the painter's tape that's all over the courts up there, the tennis courts.
Yeah,
If there was any kind of a schedule for the leagues to come, because they'll take it up for like 2 or 3 hours at a time, and
you know, it was a long discussion in here. I apologize that you came late, but
yeah, I'm sorry, I missed it.
so we're about to close this meeting. I apologize, but you can, the Voice of Ione does record it, and you should be able to see those conversations. If not, the minutes will also be released next week.
We could send her a record.
Yeah, we can send you a recording.
Recording of the meeting, the whole meeting, if she'd like.
Okay, so I did catch like the very, very end where I believe it was you that was saying that you were gonna talk to the leagues about the fact that it wasn't really meant to be used for that. I had actually talked to one of the coaches and asked him about painter's tape down, and he just was kind of like, yeah, and I was like, well, it's coming up and it's starting to like get out into the rocks outside the court, it gets stuck on your feet, and I just said it was kind of disrespectful that just and left it there, you know, and I don't think he was really happy about that, but that's just how I felt. I just thought it was rude, and it's still down there. It's just starting to peel up, and it's kind of frustrating because my family, we all actually like to go up there, and so we almost go every day. And
Yeah.
we always clean up trash. That I think that it's pretty much from them, but the tape is really much, they don't seem to care about it.
Well, so we have discussed it, and I apologize for cutting you short, but you can get a recording and it will be looked at. We will discuss it with the leagues, like I said, and so
Okay.
we'll move forward with it. I do appreciate you chiming in though.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
How do I get to the voice or whatever it is? How do I get to that?
It's voiceofione.com, I think, isn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, so anyone move to?
Adjourn? Yes, I do.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.